Today, Gandhi stands as one of the world's most prominent figures in history, especially in India, where his influence among the Indian people earned him the name Mahatma, meaning great soul in Indian. To see Mahatma Gandhi's climb to being one of the most important figures in today's society of India, we would have to start from the beginning. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was born to Karamchand Gandhi, the Dewan or Chief Minister of Porbandar, and his fourth wife, Putlibai Gandhi in Porbandar, India. Young Mohandas's academic skill was considered as overall mediocre. In his youth, he was shy and passive. This passiveness eventually led to a rebellious adolescence, secretly disbelieving faith, minor theft, smoking in secret, eating meat despite the fact that he was the son of a Vaishnava family. However, after each daring feat, Mohandas would keep his promise to never attempt these escapades again. Mohandas's urge for self-improvement made him look at Hindu figures such as Prahlada as admirable. Though Mohandas aspired to be a doctor, it was against the family traditions and religion. Mohandas went to England to become a certified barrister in order to hold a leading position in one of the states in Gujarat, as his many predecessors once did. While Mohandas struggled to adapt to the unfamiliar ways of England, he discovered the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita, a famous Hindu scripture, and joined the London Vegetarian Society, where he encountered philanthropists, socialists, and theosophists. These members were on the whole idealists who were against the values of the late Victorian establishment and capitalism and industrialism. They applauded simplicity and emphasized the supremacy of morals over materialism, working together instead of arguing. These concepts had a significant impact on Gandhi's personality and, soon, his political views.
Once he had returned to India, Mohandas accepted an offer of a year's contract from an Indian company in Natal, South Africa. There he had experienced and witnessed racial injustice and discrimination. He was roughly thrown out of a first-class train car, beaten up by a white driver because he wouldn't make space for a European passenger, prohibited from hospitals that were Europeans only. In spite of all these humiliations, instead of surrendering to this oppression, Mohandas felt strongly that it was his duty as a human being to protect his own identity. The final straw came about when Gandhi attended a farewell party before he was about to return to India again. Hey, did you know that the government is considering a bill that does not allow Indians to vote? This is the first nail in our coffin. But we can't do anything against it. It would have to be you, Gandhi, to lead us and beat back this oppression. After that incident, he transformed almost overnight into a political campaigner. He prepared petitions that had been signed by many of his compatriots for the native legislature and the British government. Though he did not succeed in stopping the bill, he brought the issue to many people's attention. From there, with his Indian comrades, they brought the light to the discrimination of the Indian people in one of Queen Victoria's colonies in Africa. From that point on, the whole world was watching this new activist arise, and Gandhi's presence still lives on, even after that fateful 30th January in 1948 when Gandhi got assassinated. Mahatma Gandhi's huge campaign against the prejudice legislation against Indians contributed largely to India's independence from Britain.
In spite of how advocate Gandhi's supporters were on his proceeding of activism, some of his way of teaching and habit were under scrutiny and was trenchantly criticized. The statue of Gandhi had been removed from the University of Handa, while activists were making their presence by putting hashtag of Gandhi must fall into the public's vision due to his racialized language from his previous writings. This was made explicitly that Gandhi was a racist before, yet the fact that he was a representative for the end of the discriminations make it seem more ironic. The Hindu nationalists have played a significant role on objecting Gandhi's vision of a secular state where religious matters should be neutral, in regard to their position. Overall, it's just a minor proportion going against Gandhi's vision, yet it turns out to be relentless. He got assassinated by a Hindu extremist just to end his religious strife as well as his tolerance for Muslims. This just revealed the fact that how toxic the society was under this circumstance, affecting the public's perception on supporting Gandhi. In fact, this is how the condition of the story of life of Pi has said. You know you can fall asleep in India both morally and existentially, for better or for worse. This is stated by the author of the book, Ian Martel, by the time he was in Pondicherry. Apart from the incident which played out brutally, there are actually more reasons that misled to the downfall of Gandhi. Jallianwala Bagh massacre was one of the events which made the public living displeased. Gandhi had been criticized for forgiving General Dyer, a British military officer who provoked this massacre, firing callously at the unarmed crowd who protested against the arrest of the two nationalist leaders, Satya Pal and Dr. Subodhin Kachlu. Gandhi stated that it would be a practice of forgiveness for him, but clarified that absence of hatred does not and must not mean the screening of guilty. Gandhi had been accused of making a half-hearted attempt to save the life of Bhagat Singh and his colleague, who had advocated at the final overthrow of the British government in India and gained nationwide support. He was held in charge in prison due to his several involvement in violent demonstrations of political defiance and was hanged for execution. Gandhi claimed that it was against his statement of faith to harm a cheat, dacoit, or even a killer. Conclusively, Gandhi's efficacy and insistence on non-violence was considered naive in today's society of India. Although he was the one who assisted India to gain independence by supporting the recruitment of Indian soldiers to help the British, he insists to believe that the British would grant independence to India after the war as a return of favor, which he actually succeeded. From his deep-rooted faith in nonviolence, vegetarianism, fasting for purification, and respect for all religion, we could see his own procedure of organizing, which was insistently to practice in this way, his faith, in which it was somehow parallel to the main character of Life of Pi, since they both had a strong faith in certain matters. Gandhi insists to follow his faith by maintaining his secular attitude, as well as his way of dealing, using non-violence and gaining independence for India, just like how Pi's faith contributed to his survival for 277 days in the Pacific Ocean and eventually overcome this torment. The author of Life of Pi, Ian Martel, wrote in his novel on page 10 in his author's note that, while he's writing this novel, the lady who ran the place would tell me stories about the struggle to put the British out. It would seem that learning about how great of an impact Gandhi had on the Indian people must have assisted Martel in familiarizing himself with the setting in which his story plays out. Pi and Gandhi do have some similar characteristics, being religious. I hope you liked this week's video starring Gandhi and featuring our special guest, Martel. Like, share, and subscribe for more videos. Thank you.